What's up, everybody? Bdf 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so yeah, man, they shot another black dude in the head 4 times. They ain't meaning the cops. Some part of Florida starts with an O Scala or something. I don't know how to pronounce it. I saw the footage. It's ridiculous. They had him pinned down, and they said that he was armed with some type of weapon initially, but they had him pinned down. He was screaming and hollering, and they shot him in the head 4 times immediately, point blank range, up close. You see the whole thing. The footage is so close you can see his head bounce off the ground when they hit it. It's just, at this point, you know, they can always say, well, he had a gun. Last I checked, Florida was open carry state. And the only person who discharged their gun was the cop. When he shot that boy in the head 4 times, or were they, I think it was more than one, aimed for his head at close range, popping him. I don't know, man. I mean, I think there's a world where we look at the Black Lives Matter movement and see only the understanding that it was manipulated by some nefarious people to, you know, align them with money. That's the truth. But you also look at what it raised awareness for, and you understand that this is what the purpose was for the rest of us who were not making money off of this, who didn't understand what the reality was of that. It had merit. That's why it worked for those who were trying to make money off of it. And I don't want us to lose sight of that when we consider and harken back to the movement and displaying a certain vitriol for the manipulation within the movement. We lose sight of the fact that the movement had merit, which is why it was lucrative for those who were trying to manipulate it. It's a real problem out here in that regard. And just like most problems that we have, people don't care. They just say, oh, it's the darkies, and they look at us at the bottom of the totem pole for whatever reason. And they don't look at our plight as a human plight in a lot of cases. It's just the N-words, it ain't nothing. It ain't really a problem till it starts hitting on lighter skinned doorsteps, and it's like, oh my God, the humanity, where's the humanity? It's in the indifference of your display. And you showed you didn't care, so hey man, that's where the humanity's at. To say I'm tired of this is stupid. I've been tired of this. I was tired of this when I was a child. You understand what I'm saying? I was tired of this when it happened to Rodney King, before a lot of people were born who are walking around right now. Tired of this. No, it's a silly thing for me to say at this point. It far undermines the reality of the frustration to say that I'm tired of this. We was tired of this in the 60s, well before I was born. Tired of this. I tell you, these behaviors have a reaction. Okay? And I don't think that we're in a space, as I was saying on the way here, on the way to where I just came from, that a lot of people are in dire enough circumstances and environments to actually behave the way the urgency would otherwise allow for them to. We're distracted by our comforts, distracted by our interests, distracted by whatever. But I'm afraid that a lot of what it is that we know to be comfortable is going to be gone. And as I said earlier, all that's going to be left is the frustrations. And then you're going to see what those frustrations truly garner in regards to the natural reactions of a people not distracted, of a people who are not comforted by all that is in our modern day world. The indifferent will suffer the worst. That's my thinking. The innocent and the indifferent are the ones that are going to suffer the worst. Those who actually deserve it, they're probably not going to hardly get hit. Because that's just how evil operates a lot of the time. Those who truly enable and make it all happen, who do the damage, they don't usually get hit. It's the innocent, and it's the innocent bystanders and the people who didn't know any better and the people who look like the people who did something to somebody who didn't actually do anything. Those are the ones that end up getting the worst of it. The innocent loved ones of the guilty, those are the ones that end up getting the worst of it. And with that being something that you believe, it's incumbent for you who fit in that category to get ahead of this. Don't allow yourself to be the idol anymore. The idol standing by, not saying nothing, not doing nothing, waiting to be victims to the consequences of this behavior. Just get out and make your voice heard. Solidify in the cloud your resistance to that tyranny, to that mistreatment, to that fascism, to all of these different things. Because you're the ones that are going to have to shed blood for it. That's what I want these people to understand. That's what I want everybody to believe in their hearts. And a lot of us who are walking around today very comfortable with our lives are going to be the ones that die for the stuff that's being done above our heads, man. When they do whatever they do, the bomb's going to hit us. We the ones that's going to be the martyr. And the next quote-unquote terrorist attack. It could be you getting bombed at whatever event. That's one of my fears, is that they're going to bomb one of these massive events like we saw in Boston during the marathon, or like we saw in Atlanta during the Olympics. But we all have devices in our hands now, before that reckoning were to ever come. We are right here able to use our voices, and most of us are just sitting here waiting for something to happen, sitting here waiting to be, sitting here sitting ducks, basically. Living in blissful delirium. You know what I mean? Waiting for the worst of it to come. As if it ain't coming at all. I think that's one of the purposes of my voice, is to help people understand. Yes, there is a reaction to all of these behaviors. Yes, this is really going to reach a peak at some point, and people are going to start fighting one another. People are going to start wanting bloodshed for the bloodshed that they had to suffer. For the losses, they're gonna want lives for the lives they lost. When distractions are no longer in place, and a lot of these, what it is that we are comfortable with is no longer upright anymore, there ain't gonna be nothing left to do but that fight. And in that world, it's different. And you can look over at certain quote-unquote third world countries and see the behaviors of those people who've been under what have you, whatever it may be, and understand what could be expected. But because we don't care, which has been the theme on this channel, because we don't care, we don't learn. Because we're not interested, we're indifferent, we're not pointing in that direction to witness what it is that's there to see. The patterns of human behavior that ultimately are birthed from these indifferences to people suffering. I can't make you care. All I can tell you is that it's going to cost you to not. Black people been suffering. Hispanic people been suffering. Native American people. Palestinian people. Armenian people. I think all the people I've understood to have gone under such scrutiny and genocide. Many Arab people. But we all got to be better in our own walks of life too. Because there are prejudices amongst us. I'm on the side of the fence where I don't necessarily believe, although the jargon may be specific, I don't actually believe that black people can't be racist. And I understand that racism is aligned with being able to, from within a position of power, to oppress. And so by that exact jargon, we can effectively say that no black person can be racist in this white supremacy society. I respect that that jargon may not represent what is actual. If we're playing the word game, we can certainly do that. I respect that. I genuinely respect that. But at the same time, if the word is prejudice or bigoted or what have you, yeah, we can be that. We can be that. If you don't want to say racist, cool. But to say we can't be bigoted, which is aligned with our understanding of racist, yeah, no, that's a fault. That's a fallacy. We definitely can be that. We can be that. I don't want to play word games when it comes to that. Me personally, I don't want to play word games. That same racist behavior that I see in others, I can definitely say I see in our own at times toward others. And in my conscious mind, if I'm going to say that somebody else is being racist, if I want to be exact with my words, then maybe I don't use racism to make everybody clear on what it is I'm saying. But it's the same damn spirit. It's the same damn behavior. It's the same damn evil from within people of color pointed at people who are different than them. I've seen it. And I don't like when people play word games with my people. And I don't like necessarily playing word games when I'm describing energy from within my people. I don't like it. Because what we end up doing is giving ourselves a pass for that behavior. Black people can't be racist because we ain't doing this. So because of the word racist and what it actually means, we effectively can't be that, which gives people a pass to continue acting racist from within black skin. No, I don't want to keep that energy going. As I always say, don't mimic the oppressor. Or you will earn what the oppressor deserves. And there's this brother that I follow. He's an advocate for black people in Arabic nations. That's his plight. He stands for the dark-skinned people in Arabic countries. And what he has been commenting on and what he's been kind of pointing out is all of the anti-black racism within Arabic communities, Muslim communities, Islamic communities, which is not necessarily aligned with anything that we're talking about right now as it pertains to the Palestinian cause and, the resistance. It's a beautiful thing to see many people stand up for many people, no matter what their color is. But what he was pointing out is the anti-black racism pointed at dark-skinned people in those places. It's a real thing. And maybe it ain't the time to point out the transgressions of those who are suffering. But to lose sight of the fact that those transgressions have been in place would be naive on my part. I had better be aware that certain people who I advocate for hate me on the low. In some cases, not a lot, probably not a lot, but enough that I'm not hip to, that I'm not aware of, that I'm ignorant to. As I tell people, there's good and bad in every cluster of human beings. And although that's not been on the forefront of my mind when looking at this Palestinian plight, it is something that I think about in regards to all clusters of people. They're going to be people who accept you for your differences. They're going to be people who shun you for your differences. In every cluster of human beings, no matter where you go, you're going to find people that don't like you for your skin or people who will be kind to you, regardless of what your skin is. For me, when I think about the genocide that's been placed against the Palestinian people, my mind immediately goes to children who've never done anything to anybody. I'm not thinking about grown-ups necessarily, although I feel for grown men and grown women greatly for what is going wrong. What makes me passionate about the loss of life and the suffering is the innocence. Grown people are not innocent. We've lived, we've learned to be human in a world that is evil. And with that comes sin, evil thoughts, evil intentions. hard lessons learned, immaturity, propaganda upon our brains in whatever way or form, mistakenness, prejudice, racism, etc. That's what comes in the mind of a person who's been here long enough. But for those who just got here, innocent, who've yet to fully develop their minds and their understandings, have yet to fully develop their bodies, they deserve to be advocated for no matter who they are. And that's who I think about when I open my mouth to condemn Zionism. It's the children slaughtered. When I think about the Epstein files, it's the children. When I think about what's going on with ICE in a lot of cases, it's the children. When I think about my own people and what we've suffered in a lot of cases, it's the children. When I think about slavery a lot of times, I think about some of the stuff that happened. A lot of times what comes to mind is the young ones that went through a lot of what had happened there. What makes me passionate about humanity is the preservation of innocence. Grown people, we have our opportunity, and what we need to do is either lay our lives down or teach the young ones and be patient with them. That's our responsibility. Once you reach a certain threshold in your life where you're grown and you've understood that you've lost your innocence, it's your responsibility, in my humble opinion, to preserve innocence and to properly lead it toward doing the same when it grows up. You lay your life down if necessary for a child. That's what I believe is right. And it's just like I said about the Cuban people who may have voted for Trump. I'm not going to let those who turned on their own people have me thinking it's cool to be indifferent to those people. And same goes with my advocacy for anybody else. Those who don't like black people in Palestine are not the people I'm thinking about when I'm saying free Palestine. There may be some people in Palestine that don't really like black people at all. They may hate us, maybe, whatever. But that don't mean that I'm going to be comfortable with the slaughtering of their entire people, having in my mind the only people represented by their people are the ones who may not have liked my people. That's a selfish way of looking at life, and it allows for more indifference, which creates the example of more suffering. All I can do is make sure from within my skin and within my vessel not to reproduce more of that same indifference, more of that same prejudice, more of that same lack of accountability, avoidance of accountability, avoidance of honesty and truth. That's all I can do from within my own vessel. Try to be the best person I can be to protect the youth. And that's all I can do. And do my best to govern my intentions. Continue to challenge myself to maintain within those boundaries of morality. To not sell out. That's really all I can that's what I can control. It's to not be an evil grown soul. Like so many who allow themselves to get out of hand in that regard. To allow their own suffering to make them self-centered. And then therefore indifferent to the suffering of others, or dare I say monsters who hurt others. All you can do is control yourself. Control who is in the mirror. Govern that soul. Work on that. That's what we can do. But if you allow yourself to think that nobody's any good and so it's okay for you not to be any good, then guess what? There ain't gonna be a whole lot of good. And you're gonna be more part of the problem. I'm not letting people who sold their own people down the river be who I think about when considering whether or not it's important for me to care about the plight of people. Just like I'm not allowing those who do evil while wearing clergy cloth keep me from my relationship with God. Because the devil is always going to try to manipulate you into thinking first of those who are doing bad when representing something that otherwise you would support or learn about or give a helping hand to or what have you. He always wants you thinking about the anti-black Palestinian people, the anti-Cuban people, the racist Caucasian people, the racist Spanish people. He wants you thinking about them so that you won't do nothing to help the innocent. people of those specific groups. That is what I know. He wants you thinking about those who represent these groups as only having bad people within them. And then that spreads out to other things as well. Animals and such. When you think about pit bulls, you only thinking about the pit bulls that attack the children. You know what I'm saying? The devil wants you always thinking first about that for which represents him in these various groups, so that you'll be indifferent to those who represent God within those same groups. Do you understand that's what they're there for, doing on the devil's word? That's what they're there for, being as evil and indifferent as they are. It's to convert you away from your compassion. Let's not lose sight of that when we're on the internet as well. When you see people representing themselves in poor ways. Those individuals are not a representative of everybody. They're just a representative of themselves, and they happen to have some skin to them. So if it's a black person saying I hate this and that, it doesn't represent me. If it's a Spanish person saying I hate this and that, don't represent they. They represent themselves, and they happen to be who they are. Don't let that have you grouping everybody up in the same group, because not everybody thinks like the person who's loud and telling you whatever they're saying. It's important that this generalization process, it gives birth to the indifference, that gives birth to the suffering, that gives birth to the dystopian environment for which people suffer and don't care for one another. Don't bring urgency to the matter. It's ignorant, it's lazy-minded thinking, and ultimately is dangerous when considering what the realities of our world is right now. And even when we think about the worst of the people in the world, they got children who don't have to grow up to be like them, who may grow up to destroy what it is that ultimately their ancestors put together that meant for the harm of other people. If given enough good energy that'll help cultivate who they become. That's why you asked me if I think it's fine to destroy Israel. No, there's children there. Some of those children have been given the wrong seeds to start their life. But I've seen examples of individuals who've been given bad seeds as a child, then given good seeds as an adolescent and grow up to be great human beings. So don't tell me that a child is destined to be evil because they got the wrong start in life. That's not what I've seen. That's not what the evidence shows me. That's not what I've seen. So no, I do not believe it makes any sense for any of us to destroy any one place when children live there. No. Even if those children are going around being tyrants right now, you get them, you grab them, you discipline them, you pour love into them, and over time you teach them consistency, respect. You let them know what the Lord is about, and then through their life's walk, he will show them that what you said was true. That's our responsibility, not to destroy children. That's the devil's work. Trying to prevent armies. That's not going to prevent nothing. That just gives birth to more of that for which is looking to attack you. Israel. You destroy all the Palestinian children, try to protect yourself from armies. You're going to have armies coming from different places who are unhappy about you hurting them children. That's terrible math. And most importantly, it's a lie. It's like everything else y'all tell. Video 44, I thank y'all for watching. No.